Hello everyone, welcome back to our SDET Nest channel. Today we will continue our Python journey and build on top of what we have learned in the last video. So in the previous session, we discussed some important Python concepts like range functions, then for loop and while loop, what is mutable and immutable in strings. We saw how slicing is done in strings, and we also covered some string and integer built-in functions. So if you have any issues or errors regarding to previous sessions, you can write them in the comment section and I'll help you out there. Now in this video, we are going to move one step ahead and learn about collections. So what is a collection? A collection in Python is a way to store multiple values in a single variable. So a collection in Python is a way to store multiple values in a single variable. So normally when I say a is equal to 10, let's say a is equal to 10, here a is the variable, right? And 10 is the value stored inside it, right? Similarly, I can create more variables and assign some value in it, like let's say s is equal to welcome, then d is equal to 10.5. So string, integer, and fractional, decimal point, float values. Now here each variable has its own value in it. So if you want to, let's say if you want to store multiple values into a single variable, let's say I want this value as well as this value to be stored in variable a. Or else let us take another example. Let's say suppose there is a class, and inside a class there are many students, and I want to store all the student IDs into a single variable. Normally we can do it by creating 50 variables, like a b c d e f g, like this, similar to 50 variables we can create and assign each student id to each variable, right? But here we want only one variable to store all the 50 student IDs. So how it is possible? So in Python, this is possible by using collection concept. That's why I said a collection in the Python is a way to store multiple values in a single variable. So we can say a collection is a container that holds multiple data items together. Now in Python, there are four types of collections. There are four types of collection in Python. List, first one, second is tuple, third one is set, and last one is dictionary. So depending on the requirement, we need to choose proper collection type to maintain the data. So let's start first with the list. So list, the name itself, it is saying in which we can store multiple values, right? List means we can store multiple values inside it. So how we'll define list? So there are 3 points to remember for list. Let me number this. So this is third point, this is second point, and this is first. So a list is a collection which is ordered or changeable. Okay. Python, second point is Python lists are written with square brackets, this. So let us see one by one. So that means the first point means whatever values we'll store and add into the list, those values will be stored in proper order, and in whichever order we have stored the values in the list, in the same order it is going to be preserved. Okay, this is the meaning of first line. Second line says Python lists are written with square brackets, means that lists are always stored inside the square brackets. These are the square brackets, so this will come under its syntax. And the third point is that lists are mutable. So mutable means we can change the existing values or we can add a new value into the list, and we can also remove the existing values from the list. So all these operations are possible. Now let us first see how to create a list. Let me quickly create a day4 directory. Okay, close this. Fine. So our first example in list is creating a list. So let us see how to create a list. Okay, so let us suppose we have a variable named as numbers. Now as the second point itself says, Python lists are written with square brackets, right? So here we'll use the square brackets to insert the values. Let's say we have the values 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now I want to print the numbers. I want to print the values. So I'll type print. Inside print will specify the variable name numbers. So if I run this, it will give me the list 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, right? Fine. Next example we'll see is storing multiple test cases or multiple values in one variable. So this is related to our software testing. The if you remember in the very first lecture when I started the manual testing session, I showed you few Excel sheets where the sample test cases were there, and their test cases ID was started with the name like tc underscore login 01, tc underscore login 02, right? So we want to store all those multiple test cases in one variable. This is the I'm giving this real time example. Okay, nothing interesting in this thing, but it is just a real time example of list. One second. Storing multiple test cases in one variable. Okay, let's say we have the variable name as test cases, then a square bracket to insert the values. So what will be the values here? The test case IDs. So I am going to enter first three test cases, or let's say three different types of test cases. Test case login underscore 0. This is how we write the test case ID, right? Next is test case uh, login 02. Then we have test case sign up 01. Okay, so these are the three types of test case. Fine. Now I want to print the values, so what we'll do, print test cases. Fine, let us run this program. Yeah, so this is in real time how we do it. When we'll start writing the automation test cases, we'll use something like this. Next, so next example, let's see how to access the list item. Accessing list items, or we also call it as indexing. So we are going to access the list items using its index number. Let's say we have a variable named as browsers, let's say, and inside it there will be different names of the browser. Let's say first one is Chrome, second is Firefox, third one is Edge. Okay, now I want to access the first item of the list, which is Chrome. So I want to access this element, this item from the list. What I have to do, as I said, this is also called as indexing, so we have to use its index number. So how the index number goes here, the first one will be having its index value as index number as 0, coming to the next 1, then 2, so 0, 1 and 2. So we are going to access it using its index number. Print browser, the variable name, inside this its index number. Now if you print, if you run, we'll get the value. Similarly, if you do for 1, you'll get Firefox, right? Okay, next, so let's say our next example would be, let us name this as 1.1, because this is also part of example 1. This is 2, this is 3. Now okay, now let us see how to use loop in a list, basically looping through a list. Okay, so here let's say we have a variable as users. Okay, inside it, opening the list with a square bracket, and we have the values as, 1 second, so I'm going to store 3 values inside it. Let's say there are different types of users in a web application or in any application. So the first one is admin, then the second one is tester, and the third one is guest. These are the 3 users. Okay, now I want to print all the user values using the for loop. How I'm going to do it is, I'll use the for loop syntax. For users, for user in users, with this, then print some statement like executing login tests for user. So it is the same script, right? But here it will use for multiple users. So this is also kind of a data driven testing. This is the basic of data driven testing. Now when I run it, it will print 3 times. And let's say if I do like this, it's going to give me error. So indentation makes sense here, right? Okay, so it is going to print 3 times. Executing login test for admin, executing login test for tester, and executing login tests for guest. 3 types of users. So this is basically a data driven testing basics. It will come on inside the data driven testing basics. Now our next example is updating a list item. If you remember our third point, I said lists are immutable. That means we can change it, we can add it, we can delete it, we can remove it, we can do multiple operations on it, right? So we are going to see that. So at first I am going to update a list item, or let's say changing the test data. So I'm going to use the variable as test status. So this will help you to understand better. Test status, inside this I am going to store pass and fail values, like pass, then fail, and pass. Now I want to update here. First of all, let us understand the indexing here. For this pass, the index number is 0. For this fail, the index number is 1, and for this pass, the index number is 2. Right, 0, 1, and 2. Now in place of this, in place of index number 1, I want to insert another pass statement, I mean pass. Then what I have to do? I have to first access it. How? Test status, the index number. Finally we have accessed it. Now if we'll simply print this, if I'll say let's say this one, right? If I simply use this inside the print statement, it is going to print fail, right? But I want to update the value, update the first number index with a pass, right? After then I want to print the variable, the value, test status. Okay, now if you run, you'll see this pass got updated here instead of fail, right? It got replaced, fail got replaced with pass. Basically it is updating, right? Fine, let us move to the next part, I mean next example. Now let us see how to add a new value. Here we saw how to update a value, like in the list. Now we'll see how to add a new value, new item. Let's say we have a variable named as failed tests. So what this failed test will contain? All the failed tests failed test cases ID number. Okay, let's say we have the first one as tc underscore payment underscore 01, right? I'll copy this. Next one is payment 02. So these are the failed test cases. Next is, let's say the very first test case for profile also got failed. Then profile 02. Okay, so these are the failed test cases stored in the variable failed tests. Now I want to add a new value. How we can do that? We can do it using a insert function. Like fail, first of all we have to enter the variable name, then following with dot and insert. Okay, this we can do like at first we have to enter the index number where you want to add this new item. Let's say I want to enter 0 0 1 2 here, 2, then following with the value which you want to enter. Let's say I want to enter payment 03. So you cannot see any payment 03 test cases here, right? So now I'm going to add it here using insert function. Okay, then I'll print the failed test variable. So if I'm going to run this, you'll see 1 1 test case payment 2 2 test case payment 3 got added at the index 2 0 1 2, right? Following with the other profile 01 and profile 02. And so this is one way how we can add a new item. Another way is by using append function. So we have similar variable and values. The same thing again I'm going to do. This time instead of insert I'm going to use append. Okay, and in append you don't need to give any index number, it will update by itself. So let me comment this. Where it is showing. Let me run. Okay, so here you can see test case payment 03. So this got added at the end, right? 1 payment 1 payment 2 profile 1 profile 2 payment 3, correct? So these are the different ways how we can add a new item. Now we in the basic difference between the append and insert we saw, right? In insert we have to specify the index number where we want to add a new item, but in append we don't need to add, it will automatically update it in the end of the list. Fine. Next example is removing an item. Removing a item. Now consider this same thing here. But this time instead of append we are going to use the function remove, and suppose I want to remove this, payment 02. Okay, fine. Now if I run this, you will observe that from this list payment 02 will vanish, or it is getting removed, right? 1 1 2, payment 1 profile 1 profile 2, payment 1 profile 1 profile 2. Fine. So this is how we remove it. So we can also remove this item from the list by using the pop function. Let's say the same thing we have here. Okay, now here I am going to use the function pop. In pop and remove, the basic difference is in pop we have to specify the index number simply, we don't need to mention the value. Okay, but in remove we can't only mention the index, we have to mention only the values. So pop, let's say index number 2 I want to remove, this 0 1 2. So if I give 2, it will remove test case profile 01 from the list, right? Okay, next is so we saw pop, we saw remove. Yeah, another way to remove an item is also using the del. So using the del keyword, so del will be the keyword here, these are the functions, but del will be the keyword here. How? We'll simply say fail test case, these are the test cases, right? Now I want to remove means I have to use the keyword del failed test, inside this the index value, like this. Okay, the del keyword following with the keyword name, then inside the square brackets the index value which value you want to remove, 0 1 2. Profile 1 will be removed from here. All right, so we saw 3 ways. So there is one more way, using the clear function. Simply in place of this, remember one thing, if you are using clear function, that means it will not only remove, it will clear all the values inside it, so it will make this as empty value. So if you run this, you will get empty list, right? Okay, so next example, let us see. Example number 6 will be our okay, we'll see how different data types values can be stored inside a list, or we can say mixed data in a list. So let's say we have test execution variable, and the values are, the first one will be the test case id login, okay, underscore 01. Okay, so this is a type of string, right? Next we are going to store, let's say, another string, as this test case is, suppose this test case is passed, we'll use this pass, this is also a string. Now we are going to use a float value. Let's say the execution time taken to execute this particular test case is 2.35 seconds. Okay. So this is one float value. Now let's say the status flag we got for this test after getting executed is true, so this is one kind of boolean value, right? So you saw how different types of data types can be stored in a list. Now if you run after using the print test execution statement, it will give you all the value. Correct? Perfect. Now now let's say what else is left. I saw this data types now. Okay, so this is very important. We'll see how a list can be stored inside a list. Okay, let's say we have a value, variable as test suits. Okay, and the value we are going to store inside is okay, so this is list inside a list, right? So we have to use one square bracket, and inside it we are going to store two lists separated with comma, right? So this will store the first list, this will store the second list. Let's say in our first list we have test case 01, here test case 02. Okay, this is for test case login, that's why I will name it as test case L. This one also test case L. So our okay, I did a mistake here. Not a mistake. I'm going to use it here because these are the two lists. So in one list, one type of test case, in another list, another type of test case. So here I'm going to use for, let's say, payment TCP test case payment 02, and this one test case payment 01. So we saw, right, there are two lists. First list is this, second list is this, stored inside one list. Now if you print test suits, before that I'll comment this out. Yeah, now if you run this, you'll see both the lists are getting printed here, right? This is the first list, this is the second list, correct? Okay, okay. Comment this out. Now another example, let's say we want to see the list comprehension type. What does that mean? We want to quickly filter the failed test cases. There are certain number of failed test cases inside a variable. Okay, we want to, there are certain number of test cases results like pass and fails, but we want to only filter, or we want to only get the fail values. How we are going to do that? So this is called as list comprehension. In bracket, let me write it filtered values. Let's say we have the test results with us. Okay, and so the test results are pass. First one, I'll copy this. Okay, now I want to make this as fail. this one also fail, and the first one as well fail. Okay, okay. And how we are going to achieve it, I mean how we are going to filter it, using for and if both. How? First, write the create another variable. Okay, create one another variable. Inside this, use the for statement. Let's say result for result in the variable which you created and stored all the test results as test results if result is equal to what value we want to get, only the failed ones, so fail. And at last we will print the new value, new variable that we have created, which is failed tests, right? So if you run this, you will get only the failed test cases, I mean the failed results. And this is how you are going to use for and if to filter a item from the variable, from the list. Okay. How this is actually happening? So it will go through each results in the test results first. Okay, so it will keep only those results which are fail and store them in a new list. This is a new list name, failed list, and then at last we are printing this new list. Fine. Okay. Let me explain list comprehension again. I think this is one of the important and it is very complex in the beginning to understand. So list, this list comprehension helps us filter the test data in one clean line instead of writing the long loops. So we can also do this using the loop, right? So it is equivalent to the old style code that we were writing using only for loop. For example, we can also do this using test results. Let's say we have pass, fail, and let's say fail. Okay, and then we'll create one empty list like this. Then we'll use for loop for result in test results if result is equal to fail, then uh, it will print the it will append into the failed test, then newly created list failed tests dot append. What it will append? It will append the result. When if you run this also, you will get the same result. Now let's see if you run this. Okay, what it says, append result name field is not defined, failed test. Okay, should be only test. It is giving us empty value. Why? Splitting append results. Oh, okay, we are not using the print statement. Okay, print. What you are going to print? It will append the result in the failed test case. We are going to print the failed test. Now if you run, you will get only the failed one, right? right? So this is the same way we did, but here we use one clean line instead of writing long loops. This was one clean line instead of writing this much of code, right? So we'll remove this. Next, so next example will be example number 9, and here we are going to see, okay, we'll be checking for an item in the list whether that item is present or not. Fine, let's say we'll name this as checking or finding for an item in a list. Let's say I have a list of few fruits. Okay, let's say apple, banana and mango, the basic ones. Apple, banana and mango. Now I want to check whether the fruit apple is stored inside this list or not. Then how we are going to do it? We will be using if statement. If apple in my list, then print apple is there in the list. Okay, or else print apple is not there in the list. So if I run this, so apple is present or not? Apple we have, right, in the list, so it will print apple is there in the list. This is true, apple is there in my list, it will print the true statement. If let's say I give if grapes is in my list, so do you see grapes anywhere in this list? Any item named as grapes? No, right? So it will print the false statement. Apple is, sorry, grapes is not there in the list, right? Fine. This is how we find an element in a list. Next, we are going to see how to copy a list. This is a good example one. Okay, copy a list. Let's say there are two lists. One is in the name my list one. Okay, and it has values same this apple, mango and banana. Now I want to copy this list one into another list, and we'll name it as my list 2. What we have to do then? First of all, we will specify the second list where we want to copy it. Then we are going to use a simple function list. Inside this will print the first list. Now if you run, sorry, it will give empty because now if you see print, if you try to print my list 1, or let's say my list 2, so inside my list 2 also all the items those are present in my list 1 is printed, right? If you want to check, you can print the first list as well. Apple, mango, banana, apple, mango. Fine. Okay. This is how we copy a list. Next is how to combine or join a list. That will be our example 10. Combine or let's say join a list. Okay. Let's say we have okay, this can be done using two approaches. The first one is using hash operator. Okay, sorry, using plus operator. What I mean, using plus operator. Okay, now let's say we have the first variable as list1, where we have the lists as a, b, and c, and these are all characters. Now in list2, I want to store all the integer values. Oh, sorry, in integer we don't need this inverted comma, right? 1, 2, and 3. Fine. Now I will take another variable list3, because you are going to combine, right? You are going to add these two, and you need another variable to store this list, the added list, right? So we are going to use third list as list3, and here we are going to simply use the plus operator, that is list1 plus list2, and print the last variable where the added lists are getting stored. Now if you run this, you will see this got added with this, that means a, b, c, and then 1, 2, 3. Fine. There is another approach, that is using loop statement. Okay, how? We'll take the same example. So here we'll use the loop, that is for statement. For I in list 2, so whatever the items present inside the list 2, we want this to be appended with list 1. That means list 1 dot append. What we want to append? We want to append the I is what? All the values in list 2. So it is basically like list 1 plus I is list 2 1 a 2 b 3 c, like that. So a b c, then 1 2 3, and at last we are going to print list 1, because we are appending it in list 1, right? Let us try this. See, a b c 1 2 3, so this got appended with this list. Fine. Next is okay, there is one more approach, that is using extend function. Using extend function. How? We'll take the same example. Now what I'm going to do is, I will use the list 1 to extend with list 2, and then at last I'll print list 1, because list 2 is getting appended, right, to list 1, not list 1, right? List 2 is getting appended, or let's say extended with list 1. That's why we will print the list one variable. See, ABC 1, 2, and 3. Fine. Next example. I don't think so. Any we have left out any examples here. List inside. Update looping. We saw accessing also how to access using the index number. We saw how it is created, how multiple test cases are stored in one variable, right? So this is all about list. So I don't think that you need to understand anything apart from this for list in Python. Then, and these examples are enough to revise the list concepts. Okay, now let us move to the next collection type, that is tuple. So what is tuple actually? Now a tuple, here also we'll add 3 points. First, its definition. What is a tuple? A tuple is a collection. It is opposite to this. Remember, list and tuples are exactly opposite to it. So here we use the definition. A list is a collection in which is ordered and changeable, but a tuple is a collection which is ordered and unchangeable. Okay. So in Python, lists are written with square brackets. In Python, tuple is written with a round brackets. Okay. Next is lists are mutable, but in Python, tuples are immutable. Always remember, this is the basic difference between list and, so this comes in every interview questions. I mean, in whichever interview, automation interview you will attend. So this is one of the basic question that is asked every time. They'll ask you what is the difference between lists and tuple, and you have to explain this. So if you say lists are mutable, they may ask why it is mutable. So you can share your screen and you can give one of the example, like you can append, you can remove, you can delete, you can edit any item in the list, but in tuple you can't. I'll show you how. Well, so tuples are immutable, right? So it means we cannot modify the existing value, we cannot append the new value, and we cannot insert a new value, and we cannot remove also a new value, right? So let us see first how to create a tuple. So here I am creating another Python file and name it as tuples, and first example would be creating a tuple. So if you see how we created a list using square bracket, right? But one small difference, that's it. In tuple we are going to use round bracket, simple. See, now if you print, it will print inside this round bracket, and inside round bracket means these are tuples. Okay, fine. Next example, storing what we saw here, storing multiple test cases in one variable. Okay, that means storing fixed test data in tuples. In tuples, whatever you store, those are fixed because these are immutable. You cannot change, you cannot add, you cannot remove, right? So let me first comment this. Example 2 is storing fixed test data. Now let's say we have a variable named as browser config. Okay, and inside this we are storing few tuples. The tuples will be having the values as browser name, sorry, browser config. Let's say it's a Chrome. Okay, what is the latest one, and it is for Windows. Okay, simply print browser config and print this. You'll see all these are stored inside a tuple. Fine, this is the basic one. Next, let us see how to access the tuple items. The same logic we'll be using the indexing. Accessing tuples. Okay, so let's say we'll use the same example. So here the index number is 0 1 2. What we are going to do, I want this one to be accessed. Simply I will use the index number, that is 1. Now if you print, you will get the index number 1 value, that is latest. Then okay, so next example, let's see looping through a tuple. This we saw how to access tuple. Next we'll see how to use loop in tuple. Looping through a tuple. So here I am first going to store let's see what example. Okay, I'm going to and take the variable name as environments. Okay, and the values I will store as all the environments we have in a software development process, that is first QA, then UAT, then prod. Okay, now let's say I want to print all these values. Okay, all these values just using another variable, or let's say another variable only, naming as environment. It's short form of environment, env. So what I'm going to do is I'll use the for statement here, for loop here, for env in environment. Okay, print like running tests in environment, right? Now if you run this, see, running test in QA, running test in UAT, running test in prod, correct? So this we saw how we use loop. Now here the example will be less compared to the list, because we are not going to see how to update a list item, because tuples are immutable. We are not going to see how to add a new item in a tuple, because Tuples are immutable. We cannot add any value in it. We cannot remove it. Remove any item from the tuple, right? So, why tuples are immutable? I'll explain. This example 5, immutable tuples. Okay, why? Let's say, let's take an example. We have a test, or this one only, first environment. Now, suppose you want to enter another one, I mean add one more item here. So suppose that item name is cloud. Okay, what we are going to do is we will use environment, then the index value is, suppose I want it on second number, right? And here we'll give index number, and let's say sorry, I'm updating it, right? So in case of updation, I want to update it with cloud. And so instead of this second index item, which is prod, I want cloud. So prod should be replaced with cloud. So is it possible? Let us try to run. It will say tuple object does not support item assignment, right? That's why this is not possible in tuple. It is immutable. This is the reason. Understood? Okay. Now let us see different types of different data types inside a tuple. So we'll use the same example here what we used, this one, mixed data, right? So mixed data in a tuple. Now you don't have to do anything, just a change of brackets. Now if you run, you'll see all different types of data types can be stored in a tuple, right? Okay, next is tuple inside a tuple. How we saw list inside a list, similarly we'll see tuple inside a tuple. Okay, this two will come out. Now instead of all these square brackets, change it with round bracket. This is done. It will print two tuples, one and 2, correct? Okay, now what else? Okay, we'll see one example which we call it as tuple unpacking. For example, Let's say there are two variables we are declaring, tc one variable and status as one variable. Now inside a tuple we are going to assign the values for these two, but we are not going to we are not going to define like tc is equal to okay, let's say first one is tc 01, okay, next one is pass. So I'm not I'm not writing anywhere like tc is equal to tc001 and status is equal to pass. So in Python this tuple will automatically assign the values. If you are doing it in this way, it will automatically assign the values. tc will be assigned to tc001 and pass will be assigned to status, right? Only you have to do is print tc and print status, right? Okay, now if you run, you'll see tc has a value tc01, passes this, so it automatically assign the values. This we call as tuple unpacking. Okay, next is what else was there? Okay, next is checking item in a tuple. Let's say we have browser configs. Okay, example 9 is checking item in tuple. So how we are going to do it? Using if statement. Let's say this is the value we have assigned to the variable this, and this is the tuple. Okay, now I will use the if statement as if I want to check whether Chrome is present or not. If Chrome in browser config, then print it is there, else print it is not there. Okay, when if you print this, if you run it, it will show it is there because Chrome is present inside this tuple. Okay. Next example we'll see how to, okay, this is most important here, how to convert tuple into a list. Observe this example carefully. Convert tuple to list. So to convert a tuple to list, we need a tuple. Let's say we have a variable failed test and all the failed tests are stored inside a tuple. Okay, and I want to convert this tuple as a list. What I'm going to do is I'll use the variable name failed tests. Okay, failed test is equal to failed test list. First of all, we will mention this as list is equal to list failed tests. Okay, next is we'll create failed test list. Will append this append this test case login 01 to failed test list, which is a list actually. Let's say failed test, better to name it different, then only we will understand. Failed test new. Okay, now this is one variable, right, and this is one variable. This variable I have converted the first variable into list and stored it inside the new variable, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to append the new variable with the test case tc001. Okay, failed d is missing, failed test new append this one. Now we'll print the new variable name. What is field test new? So what it will do, it will basically convert it into list. It will convert into list. See, tc login 01 inside all this inside the square brackets. Earlier it was this one. Now why I'm appending it, I also showed you how to add it right inside a tuple. So earlier, I mean, if you remove this and if you print, it is still converting, but here I am appending it. That means I am changing it, I am editing it, I am adding a new value inside a tuple. So but you'll say, but Ankit, you said before that list is, sorry, tuple is immutable. Then how you can add a new value inside a tuple? We are not adding this value inside a tuple. Observe this. We are first converting this into lists, right? Then we are adding it into a list. We are not adding it into tuple, correct? Okay. Next, so now we'll see how to convert list into a tuple. Okay. Now let's say we have a variable as test data. Okay, and there is one tuple. Okay, inside this tuple I am going to store a value as, let's say, login tests. This is one value. Okay, another one is a list. Observe this. This whole is a tuple. Inside this whole tuple, this is one item stored. Another item is a list, and inside this list there will be multiple items, like, let's say, login test for admin, user, let's say test, user, let it be user, and guest, right? Now if you print test data, you'll observe it is printing two items. Observe this, two items it is printing. First one is login tests, another item is a list. This is one item, this whole is a one item, and inside this whole one item, it is a, there are three different lists, because it is three different items inside one list, correct? Now there is one important rule for this particular example. I'll mention it here. The rule is tuple itself is immutable. Okay, but mutable objects inside it can change. So this I'm talking about this one, how we added a new value inside a tuple after converting this tuple into a list first, then adding this a new value inside this list, right? So this means tuple itself is immutable. I agree with that, but mutable objects inside it can change. Mutable objects means this. So you can change this. This is the mutable object, right? List is a mutable object. So you can change this. How? We'll see this now. We'll take the same example. Give it a name is 11.1. This one. Okay. Now, before printing the test data, I will append a value, test data, then the index value. For example, I want to append it. Can you append anything inside this? No, you cannot, because this is a mutable thing. Sorry, this is inside a tuple, but this is a list, right? But and as per our this important rule, it says but mutable objects inside it can change. So these are the mutable objects and we can change it. So I am using the index 1, because this is the first index, this is whole second item. This is first item which index value is 0, this is second item which index value is 1. So here I'll append a value, let's say manager. Okay, now I'll print this. Now what it will do, it will go, this manager will get appended to this list. Now if you run this, you'll see admin, user, guest and manager got appended to it, but it didn't got appended to any tuples here. It got appended only inside a list. So this is what it means. Tuples itself is immutable, but mutable objects inside it can change. Okay, and okay. Next, I don't think so anything is left. So you got this tuple and list concept clear, right? So tuples in automation framework, so tuples are used to protect the configurations. That's why I use some of the configuration these things, examples, environments. So it is used to protect the configurations, environments and some fixed data, test data. Okay, so that's it for today guys. In our next video we'll see how set and dictionary works in Python. Till then, I'm going to give you some assignments on list and tuples that we have learned today. 1 second. So this is assignments on the next page, remember. Okay, fine. So now let me copy all the assignments that I have prepared. So these are the assignments. For list we have 3 assignments: assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3, and for tuples we have 3 assignments: assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3. Go through each of the assignments and try to get the expected output. Okay, it is very easy. All are related to the concept which I have explained today. Fine. And like if you face any errors or doubt, if you have any doubts come up, then you can comment it in the comment section and I'll take it up. And please do like and subscribe to your SDET Nest channel. Okay, this is important. If you like and if you subscribe, it will keep me motivated every time. So thank you for watching this video. Signing off.